just for you, we're going to bring you our version of Wide, Wide World through the courtesy of Bob Elliott and Ray Goulding.
Good. Friends, we here at Great Big World take pardonable pride in the historic achievement about to take place before your very eyes. Here in this isolated spot, in the sub-freezing climate of the Antarctic, is one of the most amazing stories that we've ever come across. The story of Harold Haskell. We'll see Mr. Haskell in just a moment. He came here 30 years ago with Admiral Byrd, decided to remain and make this his home. Harold, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you very, very clearly.
Well, Harold, what are you doing there?
I'm just putting on some weather stripping here.
I see. May we go inside?
Yes, I wish you would. This is the front of my place here.
I see.
It's got about 300 foot. It's one of the biggest in this area. And this is the way we go in here.
Well, we'll follow you right in with our camera.
Yes, that's right. You can crawl through.
I can
get used to this type of living, but it's nice.
And this is the home you've made for yourself here in the Antarctic, huh?
Well, I built it myself, and my wife did all the decorating, Dave.
Well, looks mighty comfortable.
Thank you. Now, this is the living room we're standing in now. This is the den.
That's very cozy.
Yes, well, we spend most of our time in here. You like to see the rest of it?
Yes, love to.
This is the nursery. Well, I should say it was the nursery. My boy is 18 now, and we converted it into a combination bedroom and study.
I understand the boy sleeps here and studies over there.
No, it's just the reverse. He sleeps here, and he studies over there.
Oh, I guess I should have known. Your wife has extremely good taste. I notice everything matches.
Yes, thank you very much. But here's something of interest. It was made by my boy.
What is it?
A snowball.
I imagine a lot of thought and work went into a project like that.
Well, he did spend nearly a year on it, Dave, and some warmer weather set in. He had to wait the whole year to get more material to finish.
I guess that waiting wasn't easy.
Well, you know how youngsters are today.
Is that a hobby with the boy, or do you suppose he's going to take it up as his life's work?
That's entirely up to him. We're agreed, both my wife and I, that we're not going to tell him what to do. Would you like to see the kitchen?
Yes. I notice there's no vegetation around here. What do you do for food, Harold?
Well, my wife, before the first frost, lays in a supply of blubber, and that sustains us through the winter months.
Oh, is that a pile of blubber we passed coming in?
Well, what side of the door was that?
Left, I think.
Oh, that was my wife.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're sorry.
Living here in the Antarctic, Harold, don't you find these freezing temperatures unbearable?
Not anymore. Some friends in the States sent us down a heating device that gives off enough warmth to heat the entire village.
It's amazing. Must be a new invention. What is the heating device called?
Ina Ray Hutton.
And her all-girl orchestra?
No, they couldn't make it. Just Ina Ray.
Tropical heat wave. The temperature's rising. It isn't surprising. She certainly can dance, dance. Started a heat wave by letting her feet wave. And in such a way, the customers say she certainly can dance, dance. Gee, wait until you see how the mercury jumps to 93. Man, having a heat wave, tropical heat wave. The temperature's rising, it isn't surprising. She can really dance, she can dance, dance, dance.
Well, I want to thank you very much for paying call on us down here. I have to get back now, if you'll excuse me, to the little woman.
Your wife?
No, she's a big woman.
me look through my notes here. You are Dunstan Oberholzer, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And what is your hobby, sir?
Well, you remember the fellow used to like to fill in all the A's and the P's and the B's on the front page of the newspapers?
Yes, he had done that for a number of years, and I remember he said he took him about 6 or 8 hours to complete the
Yes. Well, that got me going. Not on that, but kind of an offshoot of it.
Oh, what do you do?
I fill in all the white spaces in a crossword puzzle.
Well, instead of putting the letters in, you just fill them in?
Fill them in with red ink, blue ink, green ink, pencil, everything.
You use all of those on one puzzle, so you have quite a colorful design there when you're through.
Oh, it really is colorful. Would you like to thumb through my album?
Sure. Do you have it here?
Sure.
Let's lift it up on the table here.
Okay. It's heavy as this deck.
Looks like you've done this very neatly. He's clipped out all of these crosswords. There's one from the New York Times Sunday section and the Tribune.
Those are the big ones. Those Sunday ones I keep up front. The daily ones are in the back.
Okay.
Isn't that nice?
I tore that one, I'm sorry.
You what?
I tore that one. Let's look at some of these others.
Oh, watch it, will you?
Oh, we don't have much time. I just want to rip them through.
Well, don't tear them. It's all right.
Oh, that's too bad. There's another 2 pages. There's one there. That's about the most beautiful.
Hey, look, you've torn 3 of them.
I was going to say that's about the most beautiful.
They're not necessarily my best, but they're awfully good ones.
What do you consider as the toughest puzzle you've ever filled in?
Sunday Times.
Any particular date or?
Well, I don't know. There's one in Good Housekeeping magazine.
I think that's about the toughest.
A tough one to fill in.
Sure is.
I don't know what colors ever to use.
Summer's toughest and winter's toughest.
Hey!
Oh!
Boy!
Gee, I've ruined about 6 out of your 10 things. That cigarette is dropped onto the last page there.
Well,
the whole thing is burning up.
It is. It's on fire. The whole album.
That's too bad. That
Holy
is too bad.
Cats.
But our thanks to Mr. Dunstan Oberholzer for dropping by today, lobbying for his hobby. And good luck on your trip home, sir. I don't think that's going to save any of that.
Gee.
Still no sign of Lord Windermere. Our friends arrive aboard the vessel which has brought them from a South Atlantic island to New York City. With them is the vocal group known as the Cannibals, which Harry plans to manage. Now, as they stand on the forward deck, getting their first sight of New York in several weeks, we hear Mary saying,
"Well, there's New York."
"Yes, and isn't it a beautiful sight, Mary? All those tall buildings. I never realized how high those buildings were."
It's only one thing that makes homecoming not as happy as it might be.
I know what you're going to say, Calvin.
Yes, it's not having our good friend Lord Windermere with us.
We do have his monocle, though. If we ever find him, we'll be able to return it to him.
What are your plans, Harry, after we land?
Well, I thought, Mary, that we'd all go out to Skunk Haven. We've got plenty of room out there, a lot of space to rehearse and so forth.
You mean the Cannibals and all?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how soon do you think you'll try to get them booked in someplace, Harry? Well, I don't know. As soon as I feel that they're ready. Oh, hello, Bonner Rosby.
That's New York, huh?
That's right. Never been here before, have you?
Oh, very big city, Kemosabe.
Yes, and a beautiful one, too. You see that pier over there? That's where we're going to tie up.
How many people live here?
Oh, 8 or 9 million, I guess.
Very big city. They all buy records?
Well, a good many of them do, yes. I see you've got your mind on business.
One hit record in New York would be good.
Oh, you're right, Bonner Rosby.
I wonder how your orange drink's stand there, Bob.
Hey, I don't know. I'll have to check on that as soon as we get out to Skunk Haven.
Now, don't forget we have to go through customs and everything.
That's right.
What's that?
Well, you have to show the people at the dock everything you're bringing into the country.
Oh, I'm not bringing many things.
Oh, that's right. You haven't got just your music there. About all you've got.
That's all.
Well, come on. We'll meet you down on the dock, Bonner Rosby. Bring the Cannibals with you, and Harry, we got everything packed?
Everything is all set.
Oh, boy, it'll be good to set foot on dry land again.
Home again.
Home again.
Home again.
Home again.
Primus Hartman.
Well, now it's your invention that we're primarily interested in, Mr. Swaggerty. I understand you've developed a new insect repellent that you hope to get on the market this summer.
Yes, I'm sure the thing would go, but I just don't have the financial resources to put it on the market, Mr. Elliott. Elliott.
It's Bob Elliott.
Bob Elliott.
Not Bob Elliott.
Yes, sir.
Well, maybe somebody will hear your story today who has the money to put this new product across. Would you tell us how you became interested in working on insect repellents?
Well, some time ago, I was reading an article saying that DDT had lost a lot of its effectiveness. According to this article I read, insects had more or less built up an immunity, a tolerance from it, from generation to generation.
Well, you read the article in a scientific journal, did you?
Yes, it was Saturday Evening Post.
And you started to work on this new and more powerful repellent that you've brought with you today.
That's right. Now, all you do is remove the plastic top from this can, and enough CWX is released to kill insects over a 12,000 cubic foot area.
Is that what you call your repellent, CWX?
Yes, the initials stand for chemicals, water, and X ingredient, which I'm keeping secret until my patent comes through.
All right. Well, now, I wonder if you demonstrate the repellent right here in the studio for us, will you?
Certainly. I'll place the can of CWX here on the desk, and then I remove the plastic top. And that's all there is to it.
Well, why are you crouching down behind the desk, Mr. Swaggerty? This isn't harmful to anyone.
You see? It's as simple as that. Not an insect left in the whole studio.
Well, this is terrible. You've wrecked the whole place, and my clothes are in shreds. I didn't know it exploded. You didn't
Well,
say...
look, if you're going to kill insects, you got to get them with something that they're not immune to.
Uh-huh. Well, will you get what's left of your junk out of here now? I think we've
You
taken
have my
so much
address
time.
there now in case financial backers call.
We'll see you later, Mr. Swaggerty. So long.
Bye.
It's an hour and a half after yesterday's episode now, and Harry is in the middle of rehearsals with Juana Rosby and the group known as the Cannibals, singing discoveries that Harry found on the South Atlantic Islands. And before they make plans to go on the road with the act, Harry wants to hear some of their numbers.
We have been rehearsing many numbers.
Well, that's good, Juana Rosby. I'm sure we're in for a very pleasant surprise.
I hope so.
You want to warm them up a little bit before we hear their first offering?
All right. Come stop. Stop. Stop.
What's the matter, Juana Rosby?
Stop.
Oh, no. There they are.
Stop.
Now, what would you think would be a good opening number for your act? Something bright and catchy?
I'd like you to listen to this. See what you think of this arrangement.
All right.
Yorana Otopurua, Iparera, Ilopitine, Arera.
Oh, I like it already, Juana Rosby.
Thought you would.
You sing with this one?
No, me just front group. What do you think groups should wear? Tuxedo?
Well, I haven't thought too much about that. It might give an interesting effect. Hello, Mary.
Couldn't find Harry Jr. anywhere.
Oh, we're just in the middle of a rehearsal with Cannibals here.
Sounds delightful.
Doesn't it sound good?
Thank you, madam.
Let's see something else they can do, Juana Rosby.
Stop.
Have them stop this one and go into something that maybe, for contrast, we would
Oh,
recognize.
maybe they wear just flannel suits.
Well, we'll worry about the costume later.
Think they grow a mustache?
I don't believe so, Buana, no. Let's try a number that the folks at the nightclubs would recognize. Something kind of familiar, maybe.
Well, my pygmy has developed a very nice arrangement of Yellow Rose of Hilo.
Oh, he's the world's largest pygmy, isn't he? Standing 5'6".
But true.
And he's going to sing this one?
Yes, him sing lead.
Well, let's...
Hey, what's up?
Sounds good.
Hey, what's up?
There's a Yellow Rose in Hilo who's a big celebrity. Every time she does the hula, it's quite a sight to see. When she does the ummy, she makes your muckus pop. The Yellow Rose in Hilo never wants to stop. Rose, 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 Hilo, Rose, Hilo.
How do you like that one, Mary? Can't wait to get this group on the road. We'll play all the big hotel night spots.
We clean up.
We're dancing spicy Julia.
We make money retired to islands in Atlantic.
That's where you just came from.
That's right.
Behind an office desk. It's kind of reminiscent of a honky-tonk burlesque.
Well, that's fine, Buana Rosby. Thank you very much.
Hey, what's up?
You keep rehearsing now, and I'll go out and make some contacts for personal appearances for you fellas.
Got very good group here. Very good group.
And so, with the rehearsals well underway, Harry makes plans to book his act into several nightclubs around the country. Will this mean trouble for the backstages? Be sure and listen on Monday when we'll hear Mary say,
Here's a telegram for you, Harry, from Las Vegas.
That's Monday in the next exciting episode of Mary Backstage Noble Wife. Word Car speaking.
And now, the Monongahela Metal Foundry, maker of extra shiny steel ingots for home and office use, invites you to ride with the men of Squad Car 119.
My name's Sam Finch. Me and my partner, Ralph R. Kruger, Jr., we're the unsung heroes of the police force. We ride a prowl car at night. Sometimes we go around corners, sometimes straight ahead. Either way, we keep on the lookout for trouble.
A week or so ago, we got a tip that a hot rod was speeding down Encino Boulevard at 70 to 80 miles an hour. The driver already had eluded 2 patrol cars. We had just pulled into a side street and doused the lights to wait for him when my partner, Ralph R. Kruger, Jr., turned to me and said,
Are you sure we have plenty of gas, Sam?
Yeah, it's almost 3/4 full.
I'd hate to start chasing this kid and then run out of gas on the freeway or someplace. No filling stations around there. We'd have to walk for miles.
No danger of that. We got plenty of gas.
I hate to get involved in a chase anyway in this car. These tires must have at least 20,000 miles on them.
Hold it. That's the guy we're after. Let's roll.
Now be careful, Sam. Sure you have the red light on top turned on.
Young punk ought to have more sense than that. He's liable to kill himself.
Watch what you're doing, Sam. You just went through a stop sign. Look out for the truck there. I think there's a safety island at the next corner. Be careful.
Doesn't look like we're gaining on him very fast. I wish we could get this thing over. I always get car sick.
Stop weaving from one lane to another, Sam. Oh, my, you just missed that other car by inches. Are you sure your driver's license is still valid?
Yeah, it doesn't expire till 1958. Boy, I'm sure getting car sick.
Look out for these car tracks. They can make you skid. Oh, dear, now we're speeding through a school zone.
I don't know why motion always makes me sick like this.
Is that a man crossing the street up there? Shouldn't you blow your horn?
Car 119. You can suspend that chase for the hot rod speeder. The fugitive has been apprehended by the men of Squad Car 74. He's been identified, booked, and brought to trial. In 1 minute, the results of that trial.
And while we're waiting to hear the outcome of this week's exciting case, just a word from your friendly United States Post Office. Perhaps you are one of many people who think that only letters must carry stamps and that packages are delivered postage-free. Under new rulings, this is no longer the case. Any employee of the United States Post Office will be glad to inform you about the law as it affects you and your mail. Drop by your local post office for a confidential chat soon.
The fugitive in that hot rod case convinced the jury that he was not driving the car at all, but was merely running at a brisk pace when he was apprehended. He was acquitted on all counts and is now suing the city for false arrest.
So another thrilling case is closed by the unsung heroes of the police force, the men who ride the squad cars at night.
Now for Matt Neffer, boy spot welder. In our last episode, as Matt and his friend Todd stood on the neighbor's back porch looking at Matt's house, they noticed a face at every window. Now, it's a few moments later as we hear Matt say...
Oh, they're gone now, Todd.
It's funny, they just disappeared, Matt.
Oh, I think it probably was just the sun reflecting things and making it appear as though there were faces there.
You mean you think it was an optical illusion?
Well, not as dramatic as that, maybe. I think you and I are a little too nervous, Todd.
Well, I know you have been keyed up the past few weeks, Matt, but for both of us to see faces at the window seems too much to believe.
Well, it's the way the sun and shadows, all of nature works.
What's that again, Matt?
I said it's the way... Well, now, look, here. Look at that tree.
Now, that is a face, Matt.
You bet it is. And in the other peach tree, look there.
And in the apple tree. And the aloe tree. And in the pear tree.
Over here, Todd. Over by the mulch pile.
You see any more faces, Matt?
No, but... the sun has gone in.
There's one thing that occurs to me. Have you recognized any of the faces?
That's the amazing part of it, Todd. I don't recognize one of those faces.
I don't either. I thought perhaps they were friends of yours. Matt.
Todd, over here by the incinerator. Get a look at the tree from this angle.
Why, from here you don't see any face at all.
Not a thing up in those trees. This is really scaring me now, Todd. I think this is something that we should call the cops about.
Call the police, Matt?
Yes. I like to handle these things myself, Todd, but I think this is a little too deep for all of us. I'm going to call the police.
And so Matt decides to seek help from the local police. Will they be able to discover why Matt and Todd are seeing faces everywhere? In our next episode, we'll hear Matt say,
I'm talking with Dr. Rupert Llewellyn-Hume Tuesday.
That's in the next episode of Matt Neffer, Boy Spot Welder.
Now, the United States Post Office, producers and distributors of stamps, invite you to ride with the men of Squad Car 119.
My name's Sam Finch. Me and my partner, Ralph R. Kruger, Jr., we're the unsung heroes of the police force. We ride a prowl car at night, keeping the city safe for you and you and you. One evening last week, we were cruising down Pico Street when my partner, Ralph R. Kruger, Jr., turned to me and said...
You smell rubber burning, Sam?
Yeah, I'm driving with the handbrake on.
Why don't you release it? You just turn the little handle. That's all there is to it. Just turn the little handle.
No, I figure it's safer to drive with the brake on. I don't like to smell burning rubber either, but it's better than piling into something.
I'm not complaining, Sam. I just wondered what it was.
Calling car 119. Car 119, a disturbance in a tavern at 3426 El Segundo. A tavern disturbance at 3426 El Segundo.
That's us, Sam. Let's roll.
Gee, I don't know whether we ought to go or not, Ralph R. Jr. You know what the regulations say about a cop going into a tavern when he's on duty.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. The regulations say no taverns while you're on duty.
Even if we went, you know what it would be. We'd figure on having maybe one quick beer. First thing you know, we'd have 3 or 4. Then neither one of us would be in shape to drive.
Yeah, nothing more disgusting than a cop who gets stiff on duty.
I don't think we ought to go. What if the commissioner happened to drive by and saw us going in or out of the place? He'd know we were supposed to be on duty.
Yeah, we'd have to tell it to the review board. Probably lose our badges. It's not so bad for you, but I got a wife and 2 kids.
I sent a check home to my mother.
Yeah, we don't want to throw all that down the drain just for a few drinks.
Car 119, disregard that call to 3426 El Segundo. The men responsible for that tavern disturbance have been picked up by the officers of car 209. They've been identified, booked, and brought to trial. In 1 minute, the results of that trial.
And while we're waiting to hear the outcome of this week's exciting case, just a word from your friendly United States Post Office. Neighbors, if you're planning to mail a sealed letter, why not put a 3-cent stamp on it? You'll have fun licking the stamp, and you'll also increase the possibility of the letters being delivered. See the dashing new line of 3 centers being offered now at your local United States Post Office.
The fugitives picked up in that tavern disturbance proved beyond all doubt that they were merely trying to get their nickel back from a gambling device that didn't operate properly. They were all released and are now frequenting other taverns in the neighborhood.
And so justice once again prevails, thanks to the unsung heroes of the police force, the men who ride the squad cars at night.
Next, the life and loves of Linda Lovely, girl intern. Now, for the many fans who wait for her on the radio, we present once again the interesting story, The Life and Loves of Linda Lovely, Girl Intern. Written for radio by Leo Leahy. It stars Marcia Van Alshot as Linda, Sherman L. Sturdley as David, with Hugo L. Summerstopper as Uncle Eugene, and Webley L. Webster as Ricky L. Llewellyn. David, Linda, Ricky, and Uncle Eugene are sitting in the darkened Copacabana in New York City on the opening night of the Cannibals' first appearance there. It's the Late Show. Tony Martin, the star, is in the middle of his act as we hear. Boy, he can really sing, can he?
He can bell a song across. Look at Warner Wasby peering out from the back of the curtains, too.
I wish we could get some word to him to stop doing that. Rather embarrassing.
Tony seems to be staying out there so long, too.
Well, he's got an encore.
Have you ever been to the Casbah? Come with me to the Casbah.
I remember that picture.
Is that egg on his tuxedo?
No, I think it's the spotlight. Sounds a little like Urano Tuhu.
For every man, there's a woman.
It's going to be pretty tough to follow this act with the Cannibals.
Is this a funny song?
No, I don't believe so, Rick.
Since the world began.
That's okay, Tony.
Hey, he's looking right at you, Ricky.
Where's the woman for me? For every prince, there's a princess. For every Joe, a Joe.
Quiet.
If you wait, you'll meet
well, there's Warner Rosby's coming right out on stage behind Tony Martin and standing there.
And look, he's carrying a long dirk.
He doesn't look very happy. He's whispering something to Tony.
Find the one.
Warner, go away. Get off the stage.
Off the stage, Warner.
Get off the stage.
This is embarrassing.
He
doesn't have any stage presence at all.
Look, Warner's taking the microphone away from Tony.
Tony's fighting with him. So it looks as if Warner Rosby has caused a near riot at the Copa in the middle of the Late Show. Be sure and join us on Monday when we'll hear Linda say,
"What would you like for dessert?"
That's in the next exciting episode in the life and loves of Linda Lovely, girl intern. Word Carter speaking. As you probably know, we've been conducting a motivational research study on the Bob and Ray listenership to find out what the psychological makeup of an average fan of ours is.
Now, we would like, as we've stated previously, to form a composite picture of a typical Bob and Ray listener so that in future programs we can cater to the hopes, the needs, and the fancies of this composite personality.
In part one of the survey, we tried to find out what kind of temperament our listeners have. The results announced last week were that an overwhelming 94% of our fans are cranky.
And the results of part two, designed to find out if the Bob and Ray fan is generous, have just been tabulated. The postcards of respondents have had one of three possible answers based on their score to our quiz. I am kindly and generous, I'm a bit of a tightwad, and I'm a cheap think.
Here's the breakdown. 4% of our listeners are kindly and generous. 8% say they are a bit of a tightwad. A large 80% are cheap thinks, and the remaining 8% of the postcards were returned by us because they had postage due.
Now, part three of the survey was designed by the eminent motivational research expert, Dr. John Dichtermaker, to find out if the average Bob and Ray fan has intelligence, wisdom, intellect, acumen, perspicacity, and all that stuff.
Now, if you know the answers to the following questions, write yes. If you don't, write no. Do not answer the question as such, just yes or no. Dishonest answers make Dr. Dichtermaker mad, so don't cheat, okay?
All right, here's question number one. Do you know the exact weight of the meteoric stone that once fell on Arkansas?
Number two. Do you know who first said, "I don't know about the rest of you guys, but I'm pulling out"?
3. Can you name 150 rivers, streams, and lakes in Dutch Guiana?
4. Do you know the Latin names of the nearly 500 species of hummingbirds found in the New World?
5. Can you count up to 1,000 in Swahili?
6. Can you give the names of the starting lineup of the Finnish soccer team in the 1952 Olympics held in Helsinki?
7. Do you know the total taxes paid by American railroads for the years 1931 to 1933?
And 8. Do you know why Viola Schrank once said, "If you're not working tomorrow, would you mind the kids? I have some shopping to do"?
Okay. Now, honestly, total up your yes and no answers and put one of the following ratings based on your score on a postcard.
If you answered yes to 6 or more questions, put on a card, "I'm intelligent and worldly wise."
If you answered yes to more than 3 but less than 6, write on a postcard, "I am a shallow person."
If you answered yes to less than 3, print in big black letters, "I am an unenlightened, muddle-headed clod."
And please hurry your postcards to us so they can be tabulated, and thereby piece 3 of the Bob and Ray Composite Man will be fitted into place. The address is Bob and Ray Mental Test, Part 3, New York.
Now, for the many fans who wait for her on the radio, we present once again the interesting story, The Life and Loves of Linda Lovely, Girl Intern. Written for radio by Ole Olehi, it stars Marcia Van Alshot as Linda, Sherman L. Sturdley as David, with Hugo L. Summerstopper as Uncle Eugene, and Webley L. Webster as Ricky L. Llewellyn. Tony Martin is just concluding his act at the Copacabana in New York City as Linda, David, Ricky, and Uncle Eugene await expectantly for the arrival of Warner Rosby and the Cannibals in their first New York appearance.
It's about over, his act, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the last over. Now we'll see the Cannibals again.
Come back and think about it, Tony.
Well, there's the MC calling back.
All right, now. I'd like to bring on now the recent hit sensation. Scored a big success out in Las Vegas at the Sloan House there. Welcome him now to the Copacabana. Let's give them a great Copacabana welcome. the cannibals.
Here they come. Where's the applause? Hey.
Just our tables are flooding.
Yes, well, no one's ever heard of them before. That's probably the reason.
Go right in the two for the tar.
Look at the bandages all over his head with that fight. So the Cannibals go into their opening number, their first New York appearance. Be sure and join us tomorrow when we'll hear Ricky Llewellyn say,
"They're very successful."
That's in the next exciting episode in the life and loves of Linda Lovely, girl intern. Word Carr speaking. Do you have the Civic Achievement Award of the month scheduled for today? And our latest recipient is right here beside me at the microphone now. His name is Carlisle Bushburn. I couldn't read my own notes there. Mr. Bushburn, may I be the first to offer my congratulations to you on behalf of the entire Bob and Ray staff.
Well, thank you very much, and I'd like to say that it's really a privilege and a pleasure to accept this award on behalf of myself and my staff.
Mr. Bushburn, of course, all of us on the awards committee are very familiar with your work, but maybe some of the folks at home are not. And I wonder if you tell us now just what it is that you do, sir.
Well, I'm a stoplight synchronizer, Bob. I go from city to city synchronizing all of the stoplights.
Well, I wonder if you could go into a little more detail. Maybe our listeners don't understand just what you mean.
Well, my group sets up the stop-and-go lights so that just as one turns green, the one at the next corner turns red.
Well, now, just what's the purpose of this, Mr. Bushburn?
Well, synchronizing the stoplights that way creates a lot of traffic bottlenecks. Drivers hit every red light, and if things are timed just right, cars get backed up for miles.
And that's your aim, is it?
That's right. Traffic is flowing entirely too smoothly in a lot of our major cities. The new freeways make it easy for the driver to just lean back and get where he's going in a hurry.
Well, do you think this is bad, sir?
Well, my group feels that the traffic bottleneck definitely must be restored to the streets of America. And the synchronized stoplight seems like the best way to do it. No matter how fast or slow they go, the drivers are bound to hit every red light. And boy, do they get mad. You should see the looks on their faces.
Well, it seems like, actually, it's kind of a mean trick to play on a motorist.
I suppose it is. But my group goes on the theory, Bob, that what's bad for the motorist is good for the country.
Well, just what is the group that you speak for, Mr. Bushburn?
I'm affiliated with the Pedestrians League of America, Bob. We're made up of people who are too cheap to buy cars or who can't learn to drive, that sort of thing.
Well, then you're really a bunch of soreheads, the way I look at it. Is that right?
That's right. We can't drive, and we want to make things as miserable as we can for people who do. We lobby to have detours put up even when they're not working on the roads. And we hire a lot of heavy-duty trucks to drive up and down the highways at 15 miles an hour on Sunday afternoon. We're a very active group. And I think that the synchronized stoplight is probably our greatest achievement.
Well, certainly it seems to be a dilly, and I can understand why the committee voted to give you the Bob and Ray Civic Achievement Award for this month.
Well, I'll treasure it always, Bob, but I wonder if you'd mind having it delivered to my office. It's too big to carry over on my bicycle.
All right, I'll be happy to, Mr. Bushburn. Thanks for dropping by today.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir. Now, for the many fans who wait for her on the radio, we present once again the interesting story, The Life and Loves of Linda Lovely, Girl Intern. Written for radio by Ole O'Leahy. It stars Marcia Van Alshot as Linda, Sherman L. Sturdley as David, with Hugo L. Summerstopper as Uncle Eugene, and Webley L. Webster as Ricky L. Llewellyn. Join our friends now just a few seconds after yesterday's episode concluded as the Cannibals have taken the stage at the New York nightclub called the Copacabana. Their first New York appearance. We hear...
Gee, I love that song.
Nice fellow. Hey, isn't that Tony Martin sticking his head out from behind the curtains there?
Yeah, what's he doing that for? He's been on there. He's had his chance. I wish they'd bring on the girls. That's what I wish. Where are the girls?
Say, Tony's coming right out on stage there. Doing the same thing Warner Rosby did when he was on. we don't have another occurrence like the first one.
Hello again, and welcome to the Copacabana.
Hey, he's interrupting.
Second half of the first
Hey, you're
show.
going to get in trouble,
Get off the
Tony.
stage there.
Ah, yes, New York City.
Look,
What a thrill it is.
One of Rosby has stepped out of the group and... Come on, let's get out of here. All the cannibals are on the warpath, all right. Come on.
Do you folks want to order your food now?
No, we're going to get up. You mean you're going to stay here waiting?
Sure. This happens quite a bit. Uh-oh. Looks like a night at the pokey for all of us.
And so, as David, Linda, Ricky, and Uncle Eugene sit by helpless, Warner Rosby starts another riot at the Copa. Be sure and join us tomorrow when we'll hear the local police detective say...
Why don't you just play Nolo?
That's in the next exciting episode in the life and loves of Linda Lovely, girl intern. Word Carter speaking. Maybe you've been wondering where the Linda Lovely cast is. We checked through on that. They weren't with us yesterday. And it seems that the writer, Ole Olehi, got word from someone, supposedly from this program, that he wouldn't have to write it for this week. It turned out to be an April Fool's joke. He is, in the meantime, taken off, so we won't have the Lovelies until we can find old Leo. And it may be later in the week or next week. But in the meantime... Now, for the many fans who wait for her on the radio, we present once again the interesting story, The Life and Loves of Linda Lovely, Girl Intern. Written for radio by Ole Olehi, it stars Marcia Van Alshot as Linda, Sherman L. Sturdley as David, with Hugo L. Summerstopper as Uncle Eugene, and Webley L. Webster as Ricky L. Llewellyn. Today, we're riding in a conveyance of the New York Police Department as the officers of the law take in the rioters who interrupted the Cannibals nightclub performance. We hear?
All right, move down there now.
Well, there's not enough room here, officer.
Sit as close to each other as you can. Make as much room.
Squeeze up a little there, Ricky.
Okay. It's the first time I've ever been in one of these paddy wagons.
Yes, they're not bad. It's rather embarrassing to be going to the police
So
station.
they have a truck chassis on these, Dave?
I imagine so. Either that or like a taxi cab or something.
Yeah. Because it gives you kind of a firm, hard ride.
Cannibals are enjoying it, too.
They're not saying anything. They probably think it's like an outing. Yeah, they're happy.
Looking around. Wonder what they'll do with us when we get to police headquarters.
Well, we haven't done anything.
No, we were just there. They'll just interrogate us and then let us go. What does it?
Go inside, Warner.
Well, we should be arriving there pretty soon.
Wonder whereabouts we are. What precinct they're taking us to, you know?
No.
Must be the one in Central Park. Could be the nearest. Okay, here we are.
Everybody out. So our friends arrived at police headquarters. Be sure and join us tomorrow and we'll hear Linda say,
Hey, Gildy.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode in the life and loves of Linda Lovely, girl intern, Word Carr speaking.
And now the Kraftweiler Industrial Cartel, producers of all sorts of stuff, made out of everything, invites you to widen your horizons.
Yes, it's time again for Widen Your Horizons. the award-winning public service program that teaches you how to lead a fuller and happier life by acquiring new skills. Our subject for today should be of interest to everyone. We're going to discuss how to eat. And here to conduct this special demonstration is an authority in the field, Mr. Dunstan Huber, Jr. I understand, Mr. Huber, you're affiliated with the Food Institute of America.
That's right. Our group is made up of farmers and packagers who want to create a greater demand for their products by teaching more people how to eat.
Well, you don't really have to shout that way, Mr. Huber. This microphone is sensitive enough to pick up a normal voice level.
I didn't know that. Do you want me to start over?
No, I think everyone heard you the first time. But I'm still not quite clear on just what your institute does. You mean that you try to educate people to eat certain types of food that perhaps they haven't tried before?
No, of course, we do get bigger subsidies from some branches of the food industry than from others. For instance, the okra canners underwrite a sizable share of our budget. But we don't push okra. We figure that if we can get people started to eat it all, they'll turn to okra sooner or later.
Yeah, but everybody knows how to eat, don't they?
I only wish that were true, Mr. Elliott.
You mean they don't?
But our figures show that about 54% of the people in the country eat anything at all. And the percentage of non-eaters is even larger among the younger generation. There isn't a school or a college in America today that instructs a young person how to eat.
Well, that's really quite appalling when you stop to think of it.
It's really quite appalling. And
you stop to think of it.
Yes, you do. And it certainly accounts for the large number of thin people we have in our society today. They're suffering from malnutrition because they don't know how to eat. They have stomach pains, and they rush to a hospital to have their appendix taken out. They don't realize that the pains really indicate that they're just hungry.
Well, this ignorance has all the earmarks of being a national disgrace, Mr. Dunstan Huber, and I certainly would recommend that you get along to your demonstration here if you're ready.
Well, I brought samples of a couple of simple foods along with me today. I have here what is known as a slice of bread, a raw carrot, a white cupcake with chocolate icing, and a small bottle of milk to use as a slush.
To wash the food down, you mean?
That's correct. Now, you'll notice that I bring the food up to my mouth, open my jaws just as if I was going to say something, and then clamp them down again.
Mr. Huber has bitten off a piece of bread now through the process he has just described. Now he's working his jaws up and down in a chewing process. Now he's swallowing the bite. But, Mr. Huber, that food seems to have got caught in your throat. Take a drink of milk here.
Thanks. That doesn't help. It's stuck in my windpipe, hanging someplace by my ankles. The only thing that does any good when this happens. I'll have to hurry over to the gym while I can still breathe it off.
Okay, well, you've been listening to Widen Your Horizons, and our guest today was Mr. Dunstan Huber, Jr. Copies of Mr. Huber's remarks may be obtained, of course, from your local representative of the Kraftweiler Industrial Cartel. Still no word from the writer of The Life and Loves of Linda Lovely, Ole Oleahy. We're attempting to contact him to tell him that it was all an April Fool's joke, that he was supposed to have written the series for this week. However, no success has been found in finding him, and so instead we'll have to continue with our regularly unscheduled feature at this time.
Now we have a most important session coming up here, because seated right next to me is our veteran overseas newscaster, J.J., or Phil Fish, as he's known. Phil has just returned to this country with a fresh, timely report on the troubled and turbulent Middle East.
Fish here with a fresh, timely report on the troubled and turbulent Middle East.
It's awfully good to have you back at the Home Office, Phil. And I'm sure that our listeners are eager to hear your analysis of just what's been going on over there.
Well, I'll do my best to clarify the complex situation, Bob, if it's at all possible.
Well, I'm Ray, Phil. He's Bob over there.
Oh, yeah. Seem to have left my glasses at a little shish kebab place in Baghdad, having a good deal of trouble making out faces without them.
Well, that must place you under quite a bit of strain, I think.
Yes, it does. The case had the name of my optometrist on it. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping the glasses will be returned to him, but if they don't turn up in a month or so, I'm afraid I'll have to go out and buy myself a new pair.
Yeah, well, now, getting back to the trip itself, Phil, I imagine that it must have been a pretty hectic one in these troubled times.
Well, it was extremely hectic, Ray. I went over by boat, as you know.
Yes.
And I'll never forget forget that morning we sailed. Got all the way down to the pier and remembered that I'd left the keys to my steamer trunk in another suit at home.
Yeah, well, when I spoke of a hectic trip, Phil, I was thinking more.
I really had to fall back on my reporter's ingenuity to get them. It was pouring rain. There wasn't a cab in sight.
Yes.
So what did I do?
What
do you think I did?
I don't know.
I ran all the way home and back.
Wow.
Got soaked to the skin and was confined to my stateroom with a nasty cold during most of the trip over.
Well, that was too bad. But eventually you did arrive, right, in the Middle East, and now I think we're all interested in what happened
Incidentally,
then.
I might mention that there seems to be no truth to the old belief that sea air is good for a cold. I had a real blower there.
Well, I'm sure that our listeners all sympathize with you, Phil. Now then, you got to the Middle East, and where did you set up your headquarters?
Well, I'd planned to go to Cairo, but some other American newsmen were going to Baghdad, and they needed a fourth for bridge, so I went along with them.
Well, Baghdad is quite a trouble spot, I understand.
First night there, I made 6 hearts doubled and redoubled, having only the Queen Jack 10 in my hand. I think that's an interesting sidelight.
Well, it is. I don't know too much about that particular game, but what about life as it's being lived today in the turbulent Middle East?
Well, the food served at the hotel was pretty good. Not a great deal of variety, but it was well prepared. The swimming pool in the basement was never too crowded, and the billiard room was always cool, even in the heat of the day, and it gets up pretty warm there during noontime hours.
I assume life is going on then pretty much as usual in this, what we could call an hour of crisis, probably, in the turbulent Middle East.
Well, I did have some difficulty trying to get flints for my lighter in the hotel drugstore, but I don't know whether you'd call that a sign of the times or not.
Well, yes. Now, Phil, what about the thinking among the common people? Do they regard war as imminent?
Well, I interviewed all the waiters at the hotel. 3 of them thought there would be war, and 5 didn't.
I understand that you're now planning to do a further research project into the Arab problem with a flying trip to North Africa.
That's right. I'm just waiting for my hotel reservations to be confirmed.
Well, have a good trip, you hear, Phil, and we certainly appreciate you dropping by to give us your penetrating analysis.
It was a pleasure. Now this is Fish saying goodbye and good news.
Thank you again, Phil.
Next, the life and loves of Linda Lovely, girl intern. Now, for the many fans who wait for her on the radio, we present once again the interesting story, The Life and Loves of Linda Lovely, girl intern. Written for radio by Ole Olehi. It stars Marcia Van Alshot as Linda, Sherman L. Sturdley as David, with Hugo L. Summers-Stoppard as Uncle Eugene, and Webley L. Webster as Ricky L. Llewellyn. Today, our friends are back in their cells at City Prison, awaiting word on whether or not they'll be freed after being picked up with the cannibals. And we hear...
Looks like we may get out. Seems
Yes.
like they found out that we didn't have anything to do with the big riot.
Yes, the only thing is they made the cannibals promise they'd go back to their tropical island.
Oh, you know, I almost don't care anymore. I want to get back to natural type living back in River's Mouth.
Yeah, I guess that's where we really belong, Ricky.
It certainly is, and I think that we need a long rest at
Well,
home.
I guess maybe our show business career wasn't meant for us anyway. We didn't have the right act there in the cannibals.
Okay, you can
Oh,
go.
there's the jailer now.
You can go. Sorry that we had to keep you here so long.
Oh, that's okay. Didn't mind it a bit. Butler. Which way is the railroad station, jailer?
Well, it's just down 2 blocks from the pokey here.
Fine. Well, we'll be heading back to River's Mouth if we can get a train that...
Well, aren't you fellas going to drive us home? I mean, for all the inconvenience you caused us?
Yes, it was your fault pulling us in this way.
Oh, no, I'm not responsible for driving you home. Where do you live?
River's Mouth.
Well, that's only 20 to 30 miles from town. No, you'll be all right. Just get your train, go on home.
Well, all right. I guess as long as we're free, we'd better get out of here.
Well, goodbye, jailer. It's been real nice. Hope to see you again under more pleasant circumstances. All right, let's go.
Where do you think you're going?
Well, we were just released from prison, sir.
Oh, no, you're not.
Well, have our friends been hauled back on another rap? And will they be able to beat this one and return to River's Mouth? Be sure and join us tomorrow, and we'll hear Ricky L. Llewellyn say...
Thank you very much, Taylor. I thought it was a mistake. Yeah.
That's tomorrow in the next exciting episode in the life and loves of Linda Lovely, girl intern, a word car speaking.